Welcome everybody to the greatest video game known to man, Sonic 06. I'm playing this on PC. I'm not playing the console version because the PC version has fast load times. Although the PC version is 720p, the console version is 1080p. I'm joined by my friend David. Say hello to the people.
Let the record show I do not agree with him when he said this is the greatest game ever made. I do not agree on that. I want it to be clear on the record.
This series is going to be a bit different because instead of talking about random shit, we're actually going to attempt to follow the game in question due to some disagreements the two of us may have. In addition, there is a bit of a bonus here. As opposed to doing what the standard YouTube commentary does, and just take each individual story and cut that into parts, I decided to turn sections of the game into movies, reordering the game so that it follows a more cohesive narrative structure. In other words... Yes, I will start with Silver.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Because this is not the first cutscene you get when you play the game. I'm doing this so that while we talk to each other, we don't have to focus on keeping everything in order. We can see it happen in real time. This game was created as a reboot, which is why Blaze's story has been retconned. At some point, that reboot narrative has been changed, and Izuka said that Blaze just has amnesia in this game.
Yeah, let's just we just throw Rush out the wind and just accept this crazy thing. Also, why are there two screens?
So the left mode is the normal mode, and on right mode is the very hard mode. Just to show off the differences, because I like this game so much that I played both versions.
Yeah, so those who don't know, Miguel considers Sonic 06 as probably one of the best Sonic games.
As the best Sonic game.
I claim I don't know how we can take it seriously.
You gotta realize, I also did every single part, all 9 episodes in 2 days. Recorded and edited all the footage. That's already uploaded. It's done.
Yeah, but Miguel already finished it. Whereas with the other games, it takes a long time to do. Like he still hasn't finished the Rebirth trilogy. Here,
I did finish Rebirth.
I thought you said you didn't. We had to wait for more episodes.
No, Neptunia 1 we have to wait. I finished Rebirth 3. The fuck?
Okay, no, sorry, my bad. Point is, Miguel already has everything 06 done easily because he likes the game apparently.
Dude, I didn't give a fuck about my sleep at all.
I'm gonna attempt to give him the benefit of the doubt to find out why he likes this of all games, but we'll see.
I will say, again, that this game used to look so good back then. And I get it. Times have changed, but man, when I saw this game looked so cool to me graphically. But that is just an issue with the times, so I'm not gonna hold the game accountable for that.
Right. Anyway, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this guy, the first new character introduced to us in this game. Well, actually no. Elise is actually shown first, but
that's right. The Bay gets center attention, but we're gonna talk about Silver first because Silver is actually really cool.
So yeah, here's the thing. As much as I personally dislike this, how much people dislike this game, many can agree, this is me included, Silver is amazing, and so can I. Silver is hands down my favorite Sonic character ever. He's just freaking awesome. He's so cool, and he's psychic. Look what he's doing.
Oh,
so, people complain about the levels, but I will say I will agree on this. Silver has some of the best levels. Because using his powers is so much fun.
Absolutely. Just to explain a misconception with this game really quickly, what you saw me there is clipped through the rails. That's actually not what happens. So, a misconception with this game is that Silver can't rail grind. Yes, he can. The only thing is, in Silver's levels, they didn't code in the rails hitbox. So, in the main campaign, he doesn't rail grind. But in every other instance, he does.
So, see, there's the kind of thing, there's the main one problem with this game. It becomes almost incomplete.
Well, first of all, a lot of games come incomplete now, but the reason they did it there, that one's intentional, is because over there is Shadow's section of the level, and Silver's not supposed to go there. On the 360 and PlayStation 3 versions, they just have an invisible wall there, so you can't get there ever.
But they don't have the PC in the PC version.
The PC version is easily the buggiest version and the worst looking version. I did this intentionally so that I do not have any edge over you in this conversation. I want to give you the full benefit to argue your position.
Anyway, I gotta ask, what's the even the PC version of the game? Was PC gaming a thing in 2006?
PC gaming has been a thing since the 90s.
Okay.
That's not true, since the 80s.
Okay, in the left version we have Blaze now play. This is the one thing I will say about 06 that I like. You don't just play as Sonic, Shadow, and Silver. You get to switch with other character, which is fun. I love it when Sonic game gives us multiple characters.
Which we both agree with, whereas at the time of this game's release, one of the biggest criticisms of it was that there were too many characters. People thought that the game would have been better as just Sonic, Silver, and Shadow, and while I see the argument that the game would have been more focused, you lose the variety of multiple characters.
Yeah, exactly. Especially considering some of these characters will never be seen again. I'm pretty sure after this we don't get to play as Omega ever.
This is the last time we play as Omega. This is the last time in the main series that we play as Silver. I'm saying in the main series.
Yes, I know.
And I believe that it isn't until Sonic Frontiers that we get to play as Tails and Knuckles again.
Right.
So many years later. And this opening level for Silver is actually really strong, I have to say.
Carter City is actually a pretty good level. Both not about the level design itself, but I mean the structure of the level, is debatable. The general theme of this level I actually like how it's a destroyed future, and they were just fighting desperately as they can to survive and stop it.
Yeah, we're in Soliana, by the way. It's what happens to them afterwards.
I question how, because Soliana doesn't have skyscrapers like here does.
Well, 200 years is a long time, and they can develop skyscrapers later on.
I suppose that makes sense.
Yes. The day of disaster.
A complaint people have is that Silver is slow, which...
Even in this game, that's not true. He's actually faster than most of the cast. He's only slower than Sonic and Shadow, but to be fair, it's Sonic and Shadow. He's also slower than Blaze.
Apparently the consensus that Hedgehog need to be fast, which I don't know why. Amy isn't fast.
Well, in the case of Amy, she was super fast in Heroes. As a matter of fact, Sonic Heroes Amy is faster than both Adventure 1 and Adventure 2 Sonic. So it created a basis for Hedgehogs being fast in general.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. But the thing is, Silver is only slow on the ground. When he flies, he can be fast.
Yes.
I bet the main consensus. He has psychic powers. Why would you not use them? Of course he would use them.
Yeah, Silver is not a physical fighter, which we're gonna see later on. And I finished the normal mode version of the level, which obviously it's the normal mode version.
Yeah, so of course the hard mode will take much longer.
Yeah. And just to let everybody know, I'm doing this with upgrades as I get them, so this is not a fully maxed out Silver like I normally do this on. I'm doing this with the bare bones Silver they give you at the very beginning of the game. Because this game has upgrades.
Right. Also, I guess we're talking about how in here the levels are kind of free. The levels themselves are kind of free roam. There's been a thing. I know there's been a thing for other 3D Sonic games before this. The free roam levels, where in other games, the levels are pretty much linear. Like you can't move around as much in colors or generation.
Or Black Knight and Secret Ranks as well.
Or even Frontiers in cyberspaces.
Okay, but in Frontiers you have the open zone, so I'm not gonna say that game.
Oh, yeah, but here you have the hub.
True. I'm gonna be honest though, I think the open zone of Frontiers absolutely clowns on the hub world of this game. However, the entire experience of this game is better than Frontiers, I would argue.
Okay, yes, that's an argument, but the open zone is better than hub. But anyway, back to what I was saying about these levels, I don't know how people feel about it in general, but I honestly kind of do like how they gave us the free roam levels per se. You don't have to follow everything as it is. You can explore and such. Like how Miguel said, Silver was able to went to Shadow section when he wasn't supposed to, but he did.
Yeah, but that's why the rails aren't deloaded there. And part of why I think Sonic 06 in general gets a bad rap for being an unfinished game is because it was the last era where games were expected to be complete on launch. After 2010, give or take, games were coming out broken or unfinished all the damn time, and people just accepted it. If Sonic 06 released in the state it did today, and we had the benefit of being able to patch the game, because they didn't do that back then, that wasn't an industry standard, they could have made some changes later on, but that is just a case of the times being against it. While I say that 06 is the best Sonic game, I will say that Sonic 07 would have been the greatest game in the history of humanity, past, present, and future.
if only that was the case, what we done when we have this mess?
You see, everyone says it's a mess, but compared to modern games, it's really not.
I'll be honest, I guess I can't really know. I haven't played much. All the games that I have played have been complete and fun. All of them, like Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, those were great games. Skyrim was amazing.
Skyrim is 2013.
Point is, is it? Okay, I guess it isn't really modern, but...
No, a lot of games nowadays becoming broken, mess. Okay, look at the new football club. NBA 2K hasn't been good.
I don't keep up with sport games.
Okay. Assassin's Creed Shadows was dog shit.
Not really, but I heard good things about it.
You can try, dude. That, even if we ignore the gameplay, that voice acting is fucking atrocious. Actually.
Well, what else? What other games have come out recently? Oh, the new Doom Dark Ages, and people are saying that game was amazing.
Yeah, because it's ID software. That's an established studio. And even then, a lot of people say it's amazing, but it is mixed reviews compared to the other Dooms. Some people don't like that it's a mandatory parrying simulator.
Yeah, I guess that's the argument. That's the thing. Anyway, here we have our first boss, Iblis.
Absolutely. Defeat Iblis. Now, Iblis is supposed to be Ifrit, but, you know, that there changes, am I right, guys? Because this is a kid's game.
Don't they make Ifrit a boss in Sonic Rivals?
Yes, and there's also a boss called Ifrit in Sonic and the Secret Rings. But that didn't happen yet. It's kind of like how Mephiles is supposed to be Mephistopheles.
Yeah.
Yep.
I look forward to talking about the symbolism between Mephiles when we get to him.
There's a lot of symbolism in this game. This game actually has a really good story.
Yeah. Another contention about 06 that people argue about, but I honestly agree at this point. Sonic 06 has one of the best stories in all Sonic games.
It definitely has the best presentation. As in, like, cinematography of this game is really good.
That is true. Like, look at this thing.
Oh, yeah.
See how huge it feels.
It feels like this thing can destroy the world. Whereas Perfect Chaos never really felt like it could do more than destroy a few cities.
And
but
yeah, and then there's
in defense of Perfect Chaos, that was on a system from 1998.
And then there's Final Hazard, which it was okay. Final Hazard was okay.
Final Hazard being one of the last Dreamcast games is crazy to me.
Yeah, but it was still pretty cool.
Yep. There's that bitrate compression going to hell.
Now this boss itself is kind of simple. You're just drawing stuff at Iblis, but like
it's the first boss. Guys, chill out.
Yeah, of course it's simple, people.
And Silver doesn't even have his upgrades yet.
Plus, it's always pretty. Plus, it just feels cool throwing stuff at him with your powers.
Absolutely. I mean, like Iblis himself, I think is something that they could only do on the 360. I don't think you could do a boss like this on the GameCube or PS2 and original Xbox. There's no way.
Oh, definitely not. I cannot imagine this at all.
Because that's one thing that I liked about the 2000s era of Sonic. Outside of the Wii games, one of the things they actually tried doing was pushing graphics. They actually tried to use the system as strong as they could. If you look at this game and then compare it to the previous game, Shadow the Hedgehog, the difference in graphics is night and day. Graphically, this is a way superior game, which makes sense because the idea behind this game's design was, what if Sonic was in the real world? This isn't the real world, but that was the idea. So they wanted to use like more realistic textures, realistic environments, kind of things.
Right.
Yeah, they were aiming for photorealism. Did they accomplish it? Well, no, but that's because they were limited by the technology of their time. And also the fact that this game was made in 6 months.
Yeah, that's the thing. People... Yeah, it's no secret 06 was rushed. But even I would say, the problem I have with this game is how rushed it was. For a game that only took 6 months, it only doesn't look that bad.
This looks freaking
awesome. It could
have
been worse.
Oh, this game could have looked really bad. It could have looked very bad.
I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. For 6 months, it looks decent.
Yeah. I know that technically the development cycle was 1 year, but in terms of the actual work done on the game, it was only 6 months. Most of it was done in like playtesting, which is fucking crazy to me that they spent that many time on playtesting and left in so many freaking bugs. But that wasn't even the issue of playtesters, they just didn't have time.
Alright, anyways, you got S rank.
There's gonna be a moment later in a different episode of the series where I go freaking ham and I get a D rank and I said to myself, what happened? Because you'll see it. I think to myself, no, I played that flawlessly. Why did I get a D rank? You'll see it in a few episodes from now. And this is where we get, I think, one of the coolest introductions to the villain. Now, technically speaking, the first event of this game is actually Shadow and Rouge getting the Scepter of Darkness from Eggman's White Acropolis base, and then going to Kingdom Valley and then freeing Mephiles. Then Mephiles goes here. But you don't unlock Shadow until after you beat, what's it called? Until after you beat Crisis City as Sonic, or until after the Silver boss fight against the Shadow in Silver's campaign, but that's only in non-Australian PAL versions. So this is the Australian PAL version, so the only way to unlock Shadow is by completing Crisis City.
Anyways, here is hands down one of the coldest villains ever of Sonic, Mephiles.
He's also one of the few villains that actually accomplish his goals.
Listen to the theme, that's that eerie theme.
Absolutely. Also, just to let everyone know, I'm using the English dub and the English text despite the mistranslations because I've never retranslating a game again. Nope.
Frontiers really took all your energy, didn't it?
Dude, I don't want to talk about it.
Fair enough.
Okay, some Frontiers episodes would take literally 4 days to edit. And honestly, hell no. If I actually attempted to retranslate the Japanese text, this would have been a multiple month project.
Yeah, I would not want that on you.
This was when Iblis was freed. And see how there's a newspaper that says Elise is dead? That's how Silver knows that Sonic is after Dr. Eggman. There's also a lot of instances of this game of characters talking off screen, because characters will have more or less information than you see them have.
Is the person that everyone can show visions?
I don't think so. I think that they could show visions in Shadow the Hedgehog, they could show visions.
Anyway, what was the explanation of Blaze again of how she doesn't know Sonic, but apparently she knows Blue Hedgehog?
No. Blaze has amnesia in this game, according to Izuka. So the term Blue Hedgehog is familiar, but she can't put it together yet.
So Rush came first, and then Blaze just ended up here?
Yeah. Off screen, she went back to the Soul Dimension, then back to the regular dimension, and then developed amnesia at some point between.
I guess one thing I hear people talk about is how Silver was too easily accepting this plan. Silver was desperate. Like, you would see what he was like. I fully believe Mephiles was watching him the entire time, after all these years, we're just waiting for Silver to reach a desperation point.
You're defending this game way more than I am.
I'm defending the story.
Okay.
That's different than the gameplay. The gameplay problem, but not the story.
You've never played this game.
I've already accepted before that Sonic has a good story. But I'm defending my boy Silver. Silver the GOAT.
Sure thing. Anyhow, we get to meet Blaze over here at the Wave Ocean. Now, it's debatable how long Blaze was in Wave Ocean. And also, if you count the DLC, Team Attack Amigos, she technically, from here, she went to Tropical Jungle and then met up with Silver, but that's DLC shit, and I'm not counting that.
Wait, that's what it's called? Team Attack Amigos?
Yes.
Oh, and now we're having...
Technically, these two happen at the same time. Furthermore, Blaze, Tails, and Rouge's levels do not have a very hard mode.
That's kind of strange.
Well, that's because they're considered extra missions and not part of the main level select.
Well, I suppose, yeah. I do admit, it is nice that they have levels based on them and do not just, and the characters aren't just playable in between the main hedgehogs.
Yeah, that isn't true, however, for Knuckles as well as Amy.
Omega?
No, Omega has his own levels.
Okay.
Knuckles and Amy are the only two characters that don't get their own level. Which, to be fair, Knuckles is probably the worst character in this game to play as. So, it makes sense.
And what's the explanation for Amy?
She's too slow. These levels are too big. It would get frustrating for the average person.
Fair enough.
Amy is good in snippets of levels, though. Because Amy is supposed to be the stealth campaign, reminiscent to how Amy's campaign in Sonic Adventure 1 was about running away from a teleporting robot.
Right. So let's talk about that for a brief moment. At this point, Amy is still in a yandere phase, and now she can turn invisible. Poor Sonic.
Yep, why can she turn invisible? Because she learned that shit from SBO off screen.
Is that just the accepted thing, or is it actually canon?
I believe that's accepted. I don't know if there's any source for that claim, but that's the only logical explanation. So in other words, I'll say that in blue. Anyhow, in addition to that, I'll say this again. Once Shadow and Rouge make it to Crisis City, They already know who Silver is, despite not having met him.
Oh, wow. You actually got S rank too? It's a lot easier to get S rank in the game than I thought.
No, it's not. No, it is not.
Okay, I think I said it too soon. You already told me about what happened.
Some of these levels are actual, crapshoots as to whether or not you get the S rank. Okay, I'm pretty sure I don't get the S rank here.
And let's see.
Yeah, it's an A rank.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, 06 the first game introduced S ranks.
06 is the first game with the S rank. Right now we're in the very hard for Silver.
Right, figured.
The very hard mode changes the enemy formations as well as some level design. There's also a hard mode, which is between normal and very hard. That one just adds spikes everywhere.
Wow. I think this one... Oh, no, you got A.
Yeah, the only level that I did in hard mode was the Sonic Wave Ocean, because I lost the normal mode footage.
Right.
Here it is, the Festival of the Sun, and the introduction to...
Yeah, this is the first cutscene you get in the game.
Yeah, to Princess Elise III, a character that is hated way too much.
Well, we'll get to why when it comes to it.
I still think it's over the top.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, now she's being coordinated by the Red Organization 13.
So Elise is getting these visions of Iblis. She knows what happens in the event that she cries. It's game over.
Right.
Furthermore, that lady in the robe, that's the lady in waiting Anna. She's one of Elise's sisters.
Well, funny how that's not quite important.
Because she doesn't have the flames of disaster in her, so why would she be relevant? She's also a lady in waiting. She doesn't have any real political power either. Her position is mostly ceremonial.
Yeah. So, did it just line the entire thing with oil? Is that how those kind of stuff works?
I actually do not know the answer to that question. And here is the egg carrier, which looks way better than it did in Adventure 1.
Right. And we get...
the best robot designs in the series, bar none.
Oh, but also the strangest Eggman design ever.
So can you please elaborate what's wrong with this Eggman design?
Compared to what we've seen him before, having him be more realistic, more taller, it just looks strange.
This is probably the best way to do a more realistic interpretation of Eggman, though. Because he's supposed to be an obese genius.
But he doesn't look obese here.
He does look obese, it's just his coat is covering him up.
That's a pretty snazzy performance there.
And here we get the guy, man himself.
Sonic the Hedgehog, voiced by the best Sonic actor, Jason Griffith.
And to right least, it isn't. How can you get blue with white?
Okay, apparently the women in the Sonic universe are just colorblind. They have to be. There's no way. There's no way they're not.
Like, I can excuse the looks. Like, it's probably hard to know it's quills at this point. But color, come on.
Well, to be fair, if you put blue in the sun, it does look a little bit like gray. So I can somewhat see that. And there's another thing people don't realize. Why isn't Soliana destroyed when we get to it? Well, it's because Tails was a part of the restoration effort and fixed everything. This is part 1 of 2 of the reasons why they don't just chase the egg carrier down afterwards. Part 2 is the fact that the tornado was destroyed in Shadow the Hedgehog.
Anyways, now on to Sonic playthrough.
Damn, the CG versus the real-time cutscenes, the difference is night and day. Also, this is one of the last games to use realistic guns, quote-unquote.
He rescued her just before to get captured already.
That claw is a work of engineering genius. If anyone attempted to make a claw like that in real life, it would shatter your bones.
Yeah, also, how should she be able to get her arm free, apparently?
Because she's Elise, bro, that's how. I gotta say, this has to be one of the more intimidating designs for Eggman, though. Like, imagine seeing that in real life. That shit would be scary.
Okay, I suppose, yeah, I mean, put it like that.
There's been some critiques that the egg carrier in this game looked like a freaking toy. But to be fair, the egg carrier in Adventure 1 also looked like a freaking toy.
Yeah, here it looks actually pretty sick.
It looks badass, that's what it does.
And Sonic just frozen.
Well, no. He's thinking about what to do.
Yeah, but the way he's standing there, like, I don't know, it's just motionless.
Well, because he's thinking.
And we're back to Silver. Yeah, repeat the same line.
He can say something twice.
Amy, for the love of God!
Once again, the women in the Sonic universe are colorblind. They have to be. They have to be. Even Eggman, when he said, "Sonic, is that you?" And then he looks at Shadow, he's like, "Wait, no, you're not Sonic. You're something else."
Oh, yeah, sure. Apologize and then shove him.
Where'd he go?
Women, am I right?
I'm not answering that.
You know I'm right, though. Here we get the most unfortunate team up. This first chapter, I'm gonna call it the chase. Sonic and Tails are chasing Eggman. Meanwhile, Silver and Amy are chasing Sonic. Amy does not know that she's chasing Sonic. Silver is chasing Sonic. Sonic does not know that Silver is chasing him. And both Eggman and Elise are aware that Sonic is chasing them. So it's a mega chase. Also, that's count number 1 for upskirt shots of Amy. Because they used to do that in the 2000s all the freaking time.
Right.
And here's where I reveal that I'm playing the PC version.
What the heck was that?
Me checking the properties and shit.
Anyways, welcome to the hub bubble thick.
Yep. A location that people bitch about, but dude, it's just Venice. It's just supposed to be Venice.
Yeah.
And here, if you talk to the NPCs there, they'll actually explain that Sonic and Tails were there all night restoring Soleana's buildings. And also, the lip syncing is synced to the Japanese.
Yeah, I figured.
Normally they redo the lip syncing, but they didn't have time.
Soleana, we go.
Yep, we must find out where Dr. Eggman's battleship went.
And we have more information of the hub. It basically the hub thing. The wind-up of a shoemaker.
Yep, this is where we get the shoes so that we can insert the gems. So Sonic's shoes in this game are actually different from his shoes in later games. They were supposed to make a different model for his regular shoes, but instead they just kept the gem model because that's the one you use for the majority of the game.
Yeah.
In addition, before the opening cutscene, there was supposed to be a chase against Metal Sonic, as is proven by some unused dialogue in the game, but that also had to get cut.
That would have been cool to see.
I agree with you. That's why in the side quest, there's a random subplot about light cores. That's all tied to the completely scrapped Metal Sonic side quest. In addition, this game was also supposed to feature multiple endings, but I believe that was removed either due to time constraints or because it didn't want to repeat of Shadow the Hedgehog.
I kind of forgot that this game has like portals to levels.
This is the mirror of Soleana. Do you think that's better or worse than the cyberspace portals?
War. So they decided to play portal to make some sense. This is just a random mirror that comes out of absolutely nowhere.
True. Anyhow,
Anyways,
the difference between very hard mode and normal mode is very apparent in this level. I think that among the Sonic levels, this has to be one of the harder, very hard missions as well.
although should talk about the new upgrade you just got for Sonic.
The Lightspeed Dash. You press the X button next to a trail of rings and you teleport through them.
Yeah, so upgrades are a thing in this game, which
They brought those back from Adventure 2 and Adventure 1.
Yeah, I guess that's okay. I don't have a huge problem with that. So honestly, I'm all for making characters stronger, so that's pretty cool. I don't know what I'm complaining about this. Frontiers has upgrades too. I don't know what I'm complaining this.
Yeah, Frontiers is the epitome of upgrades. That game has more upgrades than any other Sonic game.
Yeah, freaking skill tree.
Yeah, it's a whole ass skill tree.
And the Orgo chasing after Sonic, because was this game adventure where they get explanation of why he's being chased by a whale?
Oh, it was it's actually during a Nezuka interview. The reason they're chasing Sonic is because they like him. They don't understand that while they're chasing him, they're causing him danger. That is the official explanation. Anyhow, what do you think of the level design of the very hard Wave Ocean and the regular Wave Ocean? Actually, this is hard mode Wave Ocean. This isn't normal Wave Ocean. This is technically the hard mode version of the level because I lost the footage to the normal version.
I honestly kind of like the very hard one. How it's just going to a bridge at the bridge. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you get more intricate platforming as well. The Mach Speed stages are largely the same, there's just more spikes in very hard mode.
Ah, frick, the Mach stages. Oh dear.
Another thing that gets criticized too much. Guys, I'm telling you. Just get
good.
No,
there's a very good reason for this. These stages suck.
Can you elaborate?
I literally tried one of them back when I went to your house. I could not control it at all. It was impossible to time. I kept falling every single time through these Mach stages. Oh, screw you.
David, do you really want to do the Frontiers race?
What?
Do you want to do the Sonic Frontiers race with me?
I would not last at all.
I can beat Frontiers in 4 hours now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So no, the Mach Speed stages aren't actually that difficult. Genuinely, on a first-time playthrough when you're not accustomed to it, yeah, I can see the issues with them. But controlling Sonic is perfectly fine. You can do it. There's no true issues with it. As you can see here, that I did both versions without getting hit a single time.
And let's see what it gets there. Here. Da, 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 da.
For very hard mode, that's an S rank. And for
hard
the
mode.
hard mode, that should also be an S rank.
That
Yep.
was incredible.
Please note that this is not how you play this game on your first playthrough. I've seen people
Yeah,
game over in Wave Ocean before.
Yeah, because the mock stages suck.
No, people game over before the mock speed stages. Okay, I'm gonna say this. Sonic Heroes, Sonic 06, Sonic Unleashed, and Sonic Shuffle are the 4 hardest Sonic games for the 3D eras.
Isn't Sonic Shuffle a party game?
Yeah, it's also hard as fuck. That is probably the hardest mascot party game that's ever been created. I can't think of one that's easier.
Don't look at me. And I have no idea.
Meanwhile, we get to see how close Sonic and Silver really are throughout the campaign. Silver is literally just across the door compared to Sonic. Sonic just needed to go a little bit farther to the left, and he would have encountered Silver earlier. The difference, however, without Elise to worry about, Sonic would have probably defeated Silver.
Okay, what is talking about?
We rescued Francesca from the roof.
Ah.
And you'll notice I actually know the names of all the NPCs because I actually really like this game. And I've taken the time to look through the dialogue.
Yes, I know, you're strange.
Yeah.
So, you're just finding all these robots here.
They're trying to invade the castle town for Soliana from the forest.
Yeah.
So Silver is just taking care of them so that they don't destroy more of the city.
That makes sense. And Silver is capable of doing that. He's basically like a one-man army with the psychic powers.
I mean, to be honest, the main 3 hedgehogs in this game are practically one-man armies.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, these are some... In terms of mascot platformers, these are some of the strongest characters. Okay, I'll tell you this, Spark the Electric Jester would get fucked in this game if he tried to do this game.
Looks like I'm
Isn't he able to move so fast he can be 2 places at once that are miles
3
away?
places at once. However,
Yeah, 3 places
while
at once.
that's true, he also doesn't have access to a lot of the type of combat that is needed for some of these enemies. He can't touch Mephiles because he doesn't have a Chaos Blast mode. A lot of the Iblis monsters would be too difficult to fight because he doesn't have resistance to heat.
Which is kind of strange since electricity is hot.
And we have the second attempt at rescuing Elise. The first attempt was in the opening cutscene. But we're going to get stopped by the Egg Cerberus. Yeah, no, I'm still gonna defend this Eggman model. It did nothing wrong. It just looks different. I would like an honest attempt at a more epic sort of story, because they did try to write this game like an epic.
I'll be in for that too.
'Cause-
Egg Cerberus, but you only have 1 head.
You do realize that the Cerberus having 3 heads is not the only depiction of the Cerberus. The Cerberus is just Hell's guard dog.
okay, Eggman.
No, I'm not aware of that. Always those Cerberus with 3 heads.
A lot of modern interpretations of the Cerberus do use the 3 heads as well. There are some old interpretations of the Cerberus that use the 3 heads as well, but the Cerberus original, which is the guard dog, or Hell.
Huh. I would like the 3 heads because the 3 heads explains one to look into the past, present, and future.
Yes. Which would fit into the theme of this game, considering this game has many themes. The passage of time is
Right.
one of them.
Right.
Come on.
Anyway, here comes.
So, while this section of the game looks really easy, that's because in the boss attack version of this game, of this fight, there's a lot of enemies trying to hunt you down while you fight them as well. Which is why there are sections of the main boss where he's not attacking too quickly. But for the true first fight of the game, that is piss easy, makes sense. Because yes, this is boss number 1 in the whole game.
Oh yeah, true. So, core is pretty simple.
Yep, and of course I get an S rank.
That was incredible.
If you guys want to see an almost complete S rank run of this game, tune into my live stream of this game that I did last year, I think.
I think so.
I think almost every level was an S rank run.
I don't know. I didn't see that myself.
It's 6 hours. You wouldn't sit through that.
Anyway, here comes.
Here's a decision that I completely understand. Let's split up. However, if you think about it, it probably would have been smarter to just stay together because Tails himself can destroy robots more effectively than Sonic can in this game. The dummy ring bombs ignore health bars for some enemies.
Plus, wouldn't the robots be programmed to go after Sonic?
And
mostly?
Elise. Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
And here's another instance of these two are right next to each other. They're just in a different section of the level. Isn't that crazy? How close these two are?
Yeah, that's actually insane.
And I'll tell you this, throughout the entire story, after we get to the introduction of Shadow, these 3 characters are basically right next to each other and just don't see each other. There's another upskirt shot of Amy.
I feel like, do they do it intentionally or they just happen because of the design?
I'm convinced it's intentional Because they could change the camera angle, and 2, in Sonic Adventure 1, when you select Amy, the first thing she does is flash the player.
And here we are, everyone all together.
Yep, the difference is Sonic is on the outside of Dusty Desert, whereas Silver is on the inside. This is how they don't see each other.
Also, on the left, wherever he is, on the left, Sonic is holding the lead, and the very hard, he's not.
Because the very hard mode realizes that the sand is quicksand, and Elise lets you step on the sand without issues. But on very hard mode, if you step on the sand, you just die.
Wait, so Elite's protecting from the sand?
Yes, she can use the power of the Flames of Disaster inside of her to create a barrier that allows her to walk on quicksand and on water.
Wow.
So yeah, people bitching about Elise when she's so helpful in this game.
I wonder Movie Knuckle can do this, and he has the frame disaster now.
Blaze should be able to do this.
Yeah, but also, again, Movie Knuckles has the flame of disaster.
Oh,
apparently.
Movie Knuckles, that's what you said, okay.
Yeah. Those who don't know, in the Knuckles TV show, apparently Knuckles defeated Iblis off screen, and he has the flame of disaster. We even see him use it a bit in the third movie.
Which, to be completely honest, that's so cheap. I kind of wish we got the Soleanna movie first. It doesn't even have to be the 06 movie, just a movie in Soleanna.
Yeah. And again, the thing about the Iblis thing, we don't even... Not only the off-screen...
We only see a puppet version.
It's describing a musical by Wade.
Yeah. And as you can see, Sonic is a much faster character than Silver.
Yeah, definitely. Meanwhile, Silver is still going. But his level, but unlike Sonic, his stages aren't really more for speed.
No, Silver's... Okay, so the way it's designed, Shadow levels are combat-oriented, Silver's levels are typically mazes, and Sonic's levels are about getting through it as fast as possible. There are some levels that are just speed for the sake of speed. Specifically, Radical Train is the biggest case, where the entire thing is just the characters rushing to track each other down. But for the most part, that is how they design the levels. Silver is focused a lot on flicking switches, finding the path out, and this is the only time in the main levels where we play as Amy. So even if you hate Amy, you only really play as her for 3 minutes tops. 1 minute here, 1 minute in End of the World, and 1 minute in a side quest.
Yep, Amy can just do that.
Yep.
And we never see it again.
Also, Amy's hammer is a lot stronger than the other characters because everyone else does 1 damage to the health bars. Amy's hammer does 2. So Amy is actually able to clear out enemies faster than a lot of the cast.
Dang, that... girl power, I guess.
Girl power? Yeah, the problem with the hammer, though, is that the range is short, so it balances out.
Right.
Okay, we still need to make the game playable.
I'm kind of glad Amy don't because like Amy, I can see right now, Amy is pretty slow.
Yeah, again, Amy is supposed to be a stealth fighter in this sort of game. So having her be fast would kind of break the point. But, you know, there was the theory that it's Sonic, so everybody should be fast. Which, I'm hit or miss on. If all the characters are fast, what makes Sonic special?
Yeah, speed is Sonic's thing, so...
Yeah, it's like...
I understand why he... Yeah.
That's kind of his one thing, you know?
Yeah, so... Of course, he has to be the only one that's fast. I don't know why people think everyone is going to be fast. That really doesn't make much sense.
A lot of people do think that way, though, and I see the argument. The idea that if everyone is fast, it's more fun, like in the classic era. But at the same time, the classic era was a bunch of 2D games with rigid level design, so it's a bit of a different beast there. Okay, what is the point of that freaking switch? That part made no sense to me.
I have no clue.
Yep. Furthermore, ledges are awesome. You don't even need to wait for the platform. It's actually a nice little trick that the game does to you, because it gives you the sense that you have to time your jumps. But this is Silver's 3rd level, so it's not really warranted to create a difficulty spike that quickly yet. Because each Hedgehog gets 10 levels, unless you're Sonic, in which case you get 11. I said that wrong. Each Hedgehog gets 9 levels and Sonic gets 10, because he's, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog, and this game is called Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right.
But to compensate for that, they give 1 extra level to the side characters for these games. Blaze gets 1, and Rouge gets 1. Omega gets one in the Team Attack Amigos DLC.
Oh, you almost got caught there.
Yes. I do like these statues as well because we're in Italy, guys. There's a Chimera. There's a lot of cool, interesting details in the background if you look at the walls and stuff. Which is crazy because this is a rush job. You wouldn't think they would put stuff like that in the game, and yet they did.
How many people were working on this game?
Oh no, this was a massive AAA studio game. This thing was huge.
Yeah.
Okay,
This
is when Sonic was still a AAA banger.
I gotta remind myself that the big games like this and others are made by like a whole, like not just a team of people, like a whole freaking building with like hundreds of people working on it.
Yeah, this game has a lot of people that worked on it. Okay? The real issue with this game was just time. 6 months was not enough. Anyhow, here's
Really
the
not.
famous ball puzzle that everyone sucks at. Guys, it's not that hard.
Let's see how quick it is for you.
I do it in one attempt. And on the right side, instead of the ball puzzle, they instead give you an enemy gauntlet to fight your way through. So it's a bit hit or miss. If you like the ball puzzle, then play on normal or hard. And if you like the enemy gauntlet, play on very hard. Okay guys, these boxes protect the ball for you as well, so you don't just fall in right away. In addition, if you don't like the ball puzzle, you can use a box to clip through the door, which gets you to the gold ring anyways. So that's
Hitting bug to cheat.
well, that's an advantage. Okay? That's a good thing. The fact that the game, unintentionally mind you, gives you an answer is also a benefit, because not everybody likes the ball puzzle, as you can see there. And that's also an S rank, because I'm a G. Meanwhile, Very Hard Mode Silver is having a real miserable time here. He is just inundated with enemies everywhere.
Yikes for him.
There's a neat little thing with the Very Hard missions. For the majority of the Very Hard missions, there are so many enemies, if you just hunker down and kill every enemy in the stage, 99% of the time, you can just get the S rank that way. Through enemy score alone.
Wow.
Okay, the Very Hard Mode missions say you're gonna fight things, okay? A lot of things. Damn.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, how the times have changed.
Indeed.
So instead of the famous ball puzzle, it's the enemy gauntlet, as you can see here. There are two different challenges. I don't think the compare and contrast is too big of a difference. It's just which do you prefer? Do you want to fight shit, or do you want to solve a billiards game?
I prefer to fight shit.
Especially a silver. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why this game is awesome. You get both options.
And make it.
Of course, it's designed for you to make it. So, one of the things you can do is the fact that technically the boxes are considered transparent. So you can grab the missiles from behind the box, in addition to the missile design. Oh right, I still don't have my upgrades yet. I only have the ability to grab multiple items even after you've begun grabbing things, and the extended reach for in exchange of not being able to grab further items. Silver's powers in this game are a lot weaker than Sonic's powers. Sonic has the strongest powers in this game. Shadow's powers are he gets the Chaos Lance, the Chaos Snap, the Chaos Blast, and the Lightspeed Dash. Those are his upgrades.
Right.
The only
Pretty good upgrade.
the only upgrade you need for Shadow is the Chaos Snap though, and the Lightspeed Dash technically. And that's about it. The other two upgrades are completely optional, which is something that a lot of older games used to do and have missable upgrades. Silver's Shock Bracelet is completely optional though, so if you don't get that, you're gonna be in for some trouble in later levels.
I think I fell for that once, getting... I don't know, I can't remember what it was, but I think I fell for something like that once.
S rank! Amazing.
Oh, we got more CG.
Actually, these
I'm
are
okay with that.
in-game models. Only the grass is CG. You know, part of me
Where?
wishes that this game had... There's supposed to be a bruise there, but there isn't. That is one thing that this game does falter in. Because of how unfinished it is, some things just don't have textures. I do wish that we got to keep that little bandage thing for the rest of the game.
Oh, that would be pretty neat.
That would have been nice. You know, Elise is actually really short considering Sonic is 3'3".
Oh, right. And then look at here, she like...
It's like barely 4 feet tall. How tall is Elise?
Yeah.
How tall is Princess Elise III? Elise is a 5'2" Italian human girl, according to the wiki.
Really? That's strange. Sorry, let me go. What'd you say?
Elise is a 5'2" human.
Dang. And that's actually is like what a medium height, low.
For a woman, that's
More
average
than-
height. And in this game, she is 17. And here we have one of the most, I would say, misunderstood lines. Nothing starts until you take action. If you have time to worry, then run. A lot of people interpreted this line as Sonic saying, run away from your responsibilities. In reality, running for Sonic is the equivalent of taking action. What Sonic is saying there is take initiative in life, which is a good message. That's 3.
Oh, baby.
Yep.
And now it's time.
It was Trigger.
The most infamous boss fight ever.
No, not ever. Big Rigs has a worse boss fight.
Okay, maybe. Okay, and ever in Sonic.
Did you play Sonic 2 on the Game Gear? Those bosses are terrible.
You to disappear.
Yep.
Trigger.
Silver the Hedgehog versus Sonic the Hedgehog.
Now,
Canonically, Sonic wins the fair, honorable fight, but Silver blindsides him, getting the true win at the end. In the fight against Shadow, there is no doubt whatsoever Shadow 100% won that fight.
oh yeah, definitely because of what happened.
Yeah. Sonic does win the honorable matchup, and as you can see, I'm actually good enough at this game that I don't need to wait for him to say, how about this?
You don't know what he says.
No, he never says it's no use against me in this fight.
Okay, yeah, because you don't ever get close enough for him to take. That's how that's what makes him say that when he grabs the Sonic by his psychic powers.
In Japanese, he says mudada.
Muda muda.
No, there's no second mu. It's just muda. Like, it's no use.
Muda.
Yeah, mudada. It's no use.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. And then here's where we get the last part of chapter 1, the moral qualm of the epic.
Wow.
The blindsiding, am I right?
And somehow Sonic still has the back.
Sonic has fallen from space before. Sonic jumped off the egg carrier with no parachute, landed face first, and survived. Sonic was in a plane crash and survived. That is nothing compared to the stuff that the Blue Blur, as all the journalists call him, has taken.
And Elite is captured again.
You know, when I first played this from the Sonic campaign, I'm asking myself, how the hell does Amy know this person? But that was many years ago. That was 16 years ago. That's crazy, you know?
Yeah, been a long time.
If they remade this game, this entire scene would be rewritten. They would never use this kind of language.
Sadly, yes.
I'm down for an HD remaster of this game, but I do not want a remake.
True. In the near future, his actions will cause the devastation of my world. So I must.
No! I don't believe it. Even if that was true. If I had to choose between the world and Sonic, I would choose Sonic.
Okay, guess the rest of the world doesn't matter.
Well, because to Amy, Sonic is her world.
Right, simp, Yandere.
You see, we don't really get characters like Amy anymore. We lost something, some variety, after they
Actually-
turned Amy into Minnie Mouse.
Yeah. Oh man, that is kind of sad.
Because the thing, I was watching Death Note with my dad, and he and I were saying they would never write Misa Amane in the modern day. That kind of character would just not exist anymore.
No, they wouldn't. They probably make her like the live action Misa was.
Mia is one of the worst characters ever put to fiction.
So bad. Also, Blade, where did you come from?
She was at Wave Ocean, and if you count the Team Attack Amigo DLC, she also went searching for Silver at Tropical Jungle.
He was there.
But she was at Wave Ocean first, so she was unable to find him. You know, despite the fact that the cutscenes are synced to the Japanese version, they're surprisingly close to English in this scene.
Honestly, yeah, pretty cool.
Furthermore, if you talk to the NPCs at this point in the story, you can actually find that they talk about Eggman as well. Anyways, gentlemen, that's the end of part 1 of this Odyssey. Have a nice day.